Hello, hello, beautiful peoples. We are back doing our Herbcrafters Tarot study group, or study session as I like to call it. And now we are moving down into the Hermit. That's the next card that's up. So we have the Hermit, and I didn't catch the pronunciation of this word, and my apologies for that. Usnea? It's U-S-N-E-A. And so if you have this deck and you have the guidebook, I'm sure you can look at that as well. And I'll look at it afterwards, or I'll go to like YouTube and just, how they have the little pronunciations. I Google pronunciations from time to time, and I'll listen to a few different people's pronunciations of a word to make sure I got it down a little bit, but I didn't check that one. So the Hermit, Usnea. I had to look a little bit. I had to do a little research with that one. So I'll go through the questions in a moment here. Just want to get to it in the guidebook here. Usnea species. And according to the guidebook, it says, like, the main sentences here is: withdraw into sacred solitude, gather treasures from the darkness, emerge with the light. I think that's beautiful. I think that succinctly captures the essence of what we know is of the Hermit. And so we're going to first go, before I go and read some more of the guidebook, we're going to go down the list of the tarot study group questions. So that kind of helps us stay on track. So, do I know the herb featured in this card, in the Hermit? And if so, does it speak to the Rider-Waite-Smith card meanings as I've grown to know? Why or why not? And how do I feel about that? Well, let me go into my research. Before I can answer number one, I had to do number two. And I might have to switch that in the future, or you can switch it yourself. But if you don't know the feature herbs in your personal research, do you find it really speaks to the card's meaning? Why or why not? So I did have to do some research, because I was like, what is this? I don't know. The image was kind of difficult for me to be able to discern if I've seen it before. But when I actually did some research, I do kind of recall seeing it before. And it turns out it's actually in an area of the country that I've been a part of. One moment. Hey guys, sorry. Had to jump off for a moment. My husband was calling me. Important question. Well, kind of important. About my daughter's birthday gift. So I'm glad I did interrupt it, because he almost did something that she would not have approved at the moment. And then I had to remember to take some medication. So sorry for the interruption. I'm back. So we were looking at this, and I was answering question number two, because I didn't know the featured herb, really. If to be perfectly honest, I'm going to bring up the Hermit to our traditional Rider-Waite-Smith. And you know what I thought about is that you may not be really into Rider-Waite-Smith, and maybe you're more into Thoth. And that's more of what you are called to use as your home base tarot system. You can change the questions for the study group questions and insert whatever system that you wish to prefer. This is my home study, though. Rider-Waite-Smith is my basis for what I learned, how I learned tarot. So we have that there. Oh, where's my little... Oh, I see. I was like, where's my card? But that's okay. So here's my research for Usnea. I jotted down old man's beard, because it looks like it's like a moss. So it kind of hangs off trees in deep, dark forests, like an old man's beard. And it's a lichen that is an organism that grows especially in the moist, cool forests of the Pacific Northwest. And it's has been used in Chinese medicine for over 2,000 years, and also a long time, mainstay or tradition in Western botanical medicine too. It supports the urinary tract, I should say, as well as the immune system, which I'm all for here, I'm all about supporting that good old strong immune system of ours. Okay, so I didn't go into full in-depth notes there with my research. I kept it very high level like that because look, I just want to be able to use this deck, be able to call upon. Now we have some kind of recall when we're going a little bit deeper into the meanings and really kind of sitting with the cards. It allows us to get to know the deck better, so therefore we can use it and be able to glean a lot of good information. Whereas if I didn't do this deep dive before, I don't know if I would even be really connecting with it. It'd just be a pretty deck to pull out and look at from time to time. And I don't want it to be that. I want it to be one that I'm connected to, one of my decks that I consult when it's time, when I need this kind of medicine. So yeah, anyways, just saying. So in my personal research, because I'm answering number 2 first, do I find that it really speaks to the card's meaning? And I would say that in terms of the physical look, maybe not so much this image, but the images I saw online of this herb. Yeah, you see the beard of the hermit there. So in terms of physicality, sure. In terms of going into a deep, dark forest in the Pacific Northwest, which I feel like I'm always called to go to the tippity top of Northern California, like almost going into Oregon. There's a certain beauty up there that I just can't even describe. The ocean is just deep, dark, and kind of scary, but it's so like hermit up there. It's so, when you're up there, your cell phone is not really going to work. Literally, the phone line out there, like in Humboldt County, is where I usually go when I go up there. It is, the name of the service is called Edge. So like, it'll switch from my T-Mobile service, 4G or whatever you have, to some other system called the Edge. Literally, like you're on the edge of the United States there. And there it's blocked. Like you can't even really do anything off of that internet. Maybe it's gotten better now. I haven't been in a few years, but yeah. So in terms of that, yeah, for me, when I want to really physically and emotionally, spiritually, everything hermit, I go up north. And I stay a few days. Yeah, I might have my family, but we hermit like awesomely up there. Like we go hang out in the big trees, the big redwoods. We go walk on the shores of the beach, although it's not like a warm beach like in Southern California, but you're definitely hermity, and everyone who is there, which is very few people, but the people that are there are also hermity. And I made up a word, hermiting. So yeah, when that triggered something for me, when I thought back, like, yeah, that's where I saw it. I saw it in this beautiful magical place. I think it's called Fern Canyon. And, there's these beautiful trees, and then it's deep, like they said, deep in the forest. And with the hermit, you're going deep. And then you emerge ready to share all that beauty, all that wonder, all that knowledge and wisdom with the rest of the world. And I literally physically do that when I go to to tippity top Northern California. So I love that for the hermit. So for me, that pulled me in, and I was like, okay, this works. I'll buy it. And then it also with the immune system, when I saw that, I was like, I'm always such a big proponent in nurturing the immune system and also just really overall well-being, wholeness, and health. And so when I think about the hermit, I think about that need to sometimes go within and to do your own knowledge, you do gain your own knowledge through your own inner knowings and your own inner intuition, and to then kind of let it all coalesce internally. And then when you're ready to emerge, you emerge. And you do so in the next card, you know, that after the hermit, you're now ready to move forward and kind of see what happens, to throw the dice, if you will, because now you've become wiser, all the wiser on your own. When you had to go within by choice, or sometimes by necessity, and sometimes by, you know, a combination of both. You know, it's just, I love the hermit so much. Because it could just also simply represent someone who's an introvert. It could represent when you sometimes just feel like, I need to hermit for the weekend, or sometimes I just need to hermit for this whole semester. You know what I mean? Like it could be so many different interpretations and timing. And so I appreciate that with the creator. Let's see what else they said. A wreath of usnea lies on a bed of fresh snow. Oh, that's snow. That's beautiful. Rose hips, cottonwood twigs, dandelion roots, pine cones, and crow and gull feathers are tucked inside the nest for safekeeping. 3 quartz crystals lie above the nest pointing north, while a single owl feather lies beneath. A candle is lit in the center of the offering. Yes. The candle. The little lantern representation. Right there. Okay. Rest and stillness are good medicine. Go within and listen for your own voice. Clarity is found in places empty of others' thoughts and ideas. Unsnea, also called, old man's beard, grows long and healthy on trees where the air is clean. And oh my gosh, God, you guys, that's another reason why I go to Northern California. I try to at least once every other year. Like I live in Northern California, but not really, more like Central California. And Northern California, the air, because of the redwood trees and the ocean, is so delicious. I can't even describe it. All my family members who go up there say the same thing. They're like, I can't even describe it. I feel so much better. The oxygen is just better up here. It's a trip. It's just amazing. So I'm sorry I had to go off on a tangent on that. Sorry. Oh, okay. I'm going to start over. Rest and stillness are good medicine. Go within and listen for your own voice. Clarity is found in places empty of others' thoughts and ideas. Unsnea, also called old man's beard, grows long and healthy on trees where the air is clean. Find your mountain. Ask for guidance from nature. There are many gifts to be gathered in dark times. Rose hips, cottonwood, and pine cones among them. Seek understanding from the allies you encounter during your time alone. A reliable fire starter, Unsnea, may save a life on a cold night, just as the perfect insight can warm a dying soul. When you are ready, let wisdom glow. OMG, this card and this, oh my gosh. Okay, crafting with the hermit. Keep Usnea on your dashboard to remind you to slow down. I might just need to do that. Create a wisdom nest and add allies and symbols that guide your quest for understanding. And finally, craft Unsnea fire starters and light them before beginning council with a sacred circle. I don't know why this card is hitting me so tough right now, but I am feeling the messages in this guidebook, feeling my research, feeling this image, feeling it all. The crystals, the feather, the crystals. I love this deck so much. Oh my goodness. Sorry guys, I'm having a moment. You know, this, just so we do a kind of kind of anchor ourselves in where we are in this time continuum here. It is April 8th that I'm recording this video. This is a day after my dad's 65th birthday. This is in the midst of California and a shelter in place. We are all hermiting right now. Is that word again? Sorry guys, it's lack of a better word. So yeah, I'm just feeling that. This is a US Games deck, by the way, you guys. If you don't have it yet, if you're just watching just to kind of take it in on what this deck is about. This is a deck with artwork by Joanna Powell Colbert. Great job. And written by Letitia Guthrie. Great job. And Hay House. Not Hay House. My bad. Sorry. I just did an unboxing of a Hay House deck. It's Hay House on the brain. US Games. US Games is one of my favorite tarot deck creators. So, I love US Game Systems. They are amazing. They really are. This is an amazing deck. And some of my most favorite decks come from them. So I'm very pleased with this. I mean, we're consulting my good old reliable Centennial, Smith-Waite deck here. Consulting that. That's also US Games print. So I just feel like, yeah, sorry for the snafu there, but I'm not editing that out. Okay, so we are moving on to the next one. So yeah, that was the Hermit. I don't want to spend all day on the Hermit, but the Hermit is one of my favorite cards in the tarot. It's also because my mom is a serial introvert, like you know how there's a spectrum? And I think we all kind of somewhere hover at different times in our day, in our life, whatever, on that spectrum. My mother always hovers on, she just doesn't want to be bothered. She only wants to deal with her family. Whereas my dad is much more on the other end of the spectrum where he wants socialization. He wants to play with people. So it's just interesting. And I fall a little bit more like my mom, but kind of a little more towards the middle, like my dad. But I hermit a lot. So yeah, I love that card. So I had to gush a little over that, but I got to move on because now it's shortened my time that I can spend on the other two cards that I want to feature today. The next card we're going to discuss is the Wheel of Fortune. And the herb that we're talking about is kitchen garden. And I think it's an actual herb garden, if you will, is from what I could tell. I tried to do a little research on it. Couldn't find much on it. Didn't worry about it because I was like, well, I just know that my dad has an awesome kitchen garden in his backyard. We can go there and be able to eat like plentiful off of his garden. And I live like not even 5 minutes away from them. I want to one day like grow my own awesome herb gardens. I've actually got a few seeds like cayenne, and we've got cilantro growing. What else do we got? We got basil. We always have basil. Thyme. We have rosemary. We have quite a few. Chamomile. I also have lavender, but I'm using that for something else. Anyhow, sorry. Going on a tangent. I want to grow also little cherry tomatoes or little tomatoes because my daughter and I, like when I was pregnant with her, I ate a ton. And when she was born, when she was like a little girl, she just loved them. So I just figure my kids, whatever I craved during my pregnancy, my kids love in the world. What they loved in the womb or had me crave is what they love in the world. I'm sorry, I went on a tangent, but anyways, let's see. So I was like, well, let's just go straight to the guidebook for this one. Put your faith in the turning of the wheel. Stay centered in the midst of change. Find the medicine unique to every season. Okay. And then it says, a circle of white stones frames a fragrant wheel-shaped garden honoring the eight holy days of the year. An herb planted for each section provides a valuable remedy in the corresponding season. Bay is planted for Yule, parsley for Candlemas, violet for Astara, and we're also growing parsley. I love parsley. Chives for Beltane, lemon verbena for summer solstice, and basil. Love basil. We're growing basil too. For llamas, sage for autumn equinox, and onion for hollows. Yeah, my husband's already started the garden, and I'm super excited. And then at the center of the garden is a compass rose. Okay, gorgeous right there. The promise of the garden is change. Events may unfold that redirect your path. Some things feel beyond your control. Find the larger patterns in the chaos. The holy days mark the revolving cycles of nature. They may bring disruption, but they are also reliably in forward motion. When your soul compass spins, find stillness in experiences that easily allow you to be yourself. Trust life to come into being as the plants always do. There is transformation in each turn of the wheel. What emerges from this development will point to your true north. Crafting with the Wheel of Fortune. Celebrate the holy days by creating a living altar. Add nature elements as each season unfolds. Beautiful. Next, when you need to stay grounded, hold a small round stone in the palm of your hand and breathe. Yes. And finally, build a reliable seasonal apothecary. Start with learning the herbs in the kitchen garden. That's what I'm doing. This guidebook offers so many useful, helpful things that for the novice could do. The kitchen garden, and how to really help make it be part of your ritual and your practice. I love that. And your altar. Gorgeous. And so I was like, okay, here is the Wheel of Fortune here. And I wanted to see, where is it? I didn't do this for the Hermit because I didn't feel it necessary. And I don't really necessarily feel it necessary here, but sometimes it's just interesting to see how they interpret these cards. Like, for example, the Hermit, they interpreted prudence, also and especially treason, dissimulation, corruption, roguery. Reverse, concealment, disguise, policy, fear, unreasoned caution. And I'm glad that we didn't consult it. You see why? Because that meaning doesn't really even correspond at all with what has evolved over time with what we associate with the Hermit, right? So it's like my intuition, this is just yet another example of my intuition saying, screw the book. However, for the Wheel of Fortune, I love the keywords destiny, fortune, success, luck, felicity, reverse, increase, abundance, superfluity. Although for me, with the Wheel of Fortune, the cycle of life, it kind of turns, depending on whatever the question that you're asking for in the Wheel of Fortune, if you're experiencing a downturn in like your abundance, then you see the Wheel of Fortune and you look at the cards, and if all the other cards are favorable, then okay, this cycle is going to turn, and now you're going to soon start to experience a change, a turn in the seasons for yourself, so, or if you see like cards that are kind of negative leaning, if you will, and it's the Wheel of Fortune that comes up for someone who's asking about abundance, you say you're still in this large cycle of lack. However, I see, and you can look at, if you're comfortable with doing timing, you can look for timing to see if there's, some kind of light at the end of the tunnel for that time period, so those are things to kind of look for and look out for. If you see something like that where the Wheel of Fortune comes up and there's a bunch of negative cards and you're like, okay, how do I work with this? Well, let's look at timing and see how long this cycle is going for, because that's what Spirit is ultimately trying to say to us, that this is a cycle. This isn't going to be forever. This is, a reminder of that. So there. Yeah, I love the Wheel of Fortune in this card. That's cool. All right. now finally we move to justice. Move to justice. So we've got justice right here with the herb, and it is an herb, cannabis, and then we got justice. Now, come on. I live in California, born and raised. Weed has been definitely naturally a part of my world my whole life. And for better or for worse, right? You know? And that is what it is. It's like California is known, I feel like, in terms like one of our biggest cash crops. We were known for our beautiful, luscious grapes for wine, and we're also known, what? For the green. I'm just saying, just saying. And so and California is also known for lots of things popping off, you know, no justice, no peace, or no peace, no justice, protest. We do a lot of that, especially I can't even say especially in Northern California. I'd say throughout California, but there's some cities more likely to just, as soon as something ain't right, they're going to hit the streets. I love that. I was born and raised in the Bay Area, and it's very much a part of our culture, the vibe of who we are. We do not like to see injustice. We want to see fairness. We want to see that for everyone. Is it always fair there? No, it's not. There's a lot of inequities that we see. When I grew up in the Bay Area, it was crazy because I went to a school that was in a very rich neighborhood in the Oakland Hills. And I was, quote unquote, bussed in from the low, I call them like the lower, like below, there's like below MacArthur, we'd say. So if you were in the bottoms, as my mom would call it, then you would be bussed in to this school. And you see these opulent homes overlooking the bay, and it's just like, whoa. And so you see a lot of abject poverty too, and you see a lot of opulence, and it's just like, whoa, it's like right there, like, especially in San Francisco, it's sometimes glaring. And so is it just? Is it really? And so I love that they use this herb for justice. I mean, clearly, you know, it's always a subject matter, a subject topic of sorts for the states. What are they going to legalize it? Are they not? Are they going to make it legal for medicinal purposes? Are they not? Is it recreational? Is it recreational out? No, yes. You know, is it a gateway drug? Yes, no. All these different legalities around it, you know, and even with it becoming legal, there's still so many legalities around it. And it's just, I was like, wow, okay. So I thought that was interesting. And let's just kind of take a look at it. So we're going to answer. And I should have also, because I say it in all my other Herbcrafters tarot study groups, I don't always answer all the questions for time's sake, for time purpose sake. And also because I'm doing all this elaborate discussion, I'm not going to always answer all the questions, or am I going to go in order? But you feel free to go in order and feel free to change it. And remember, insert whatever tarot system that you're comfortable with working with, you know. So just wanted to say that. I should have said that at the beginning. But if you've been watching the other videos, you kind of understand I'm hopping along and kind of going with where I go. Okay, so I'm looking here. I'm just kind of looking at taking it all in. You know, is there a scale? That would also, like, because, you know, like if you're weighing your weed, sometimes you got to do that, right? You got to have a little scale. They don't have it here, but if you look back here, let's look at the symbolism here, because that's one of the questions. It says the Congress. What is that? Hold on. Sorry, guys. I gotta look at that. What? The Declaration of Independence? What is that? Some sort of declaration. I'm sure the guidebook will tell us. But I think that's cool too. I love how they have all these different little oils. I'm not going to have you guys look through there, but I'm looking through there because of these old eyes of mine. Trying to get it to focus. Hemp seeds, the oils, you know, the tinctures and things, the hemp basket. So much you can gain from it, you know. There's so much surrounding weed too. Like it's a great choice, I think, for the Justice card. So I'm going to read from the book here, Cannabis Species. The key sentences are: seek the truth, make informed decisions, consider the consequences of your actions. A mandala of cannabis lies on top of a copy of the Declaration of Independence written on hemp paper. Hey! Rich cannabis oil, salve, tinctures, and capsules are set out on display. Freshly wound thread rests near a jar of dried buds. Vitamin-packed seeds are scattered about the table. The personal is political. This is the guidebook, by the way. Clarity and understanding are necessary before making a decision. Until the 1900s, 75% of the world's paper was made from hemp. A campaign targeting people of color criminalized marijuana use and shifted popular opinion, leading to the perception of cannabis as a dangerous drug. The loss of a value remedy for pain and mental illness, as well as a sustainable source of clothing and paper, is minor compared to the continued impact the campaign has on people of color. The recent legalization of marijuana further complicates the issue. The unfolding story of cannabis teaches about imbalances of power. When life asks for your ruling, arm yourself with information from all sides. Stand on the side of truth and fight for what is right. Before I read the Crafting with Justice, I do have to say something. I really appreciate this. This excites me because that is the truth. Now that they've legalized it, they have to now, they being the justice system, has to now look at all the cases, especially who was disproportionately affected, which was Black people in America, that are sitting behind bars on marijuana charges, or marijuana-related charges. So that is true. It's like, okay, now you done made it legal. Now what are you going to do about this situation? It's a continual unfoldment with justice. And you have to make sure you're really weighing all the information so you're making a just decision, a fair decision. Crafting with Justice. Now we move back to the guidebook. Create flags with messages of justice using hemp fabric. Oh, we did that at one of my women's retreats. Oh, I gotta find that. Consider cannabis products for healing. Do research. Talk to experts. Make an informed decision or informed choice. Claim responsibility for your actions. Record your commitments on hemp paper. Okay. Yes, the justice. I really appreciate those. See, so we talked about the imagery and symbolism. And yeah, I really am appreciating that is what they went with for the Justice card. Actually, in fact, I'm really quite impressed with this section of the cards, with the Hermit, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Justice in this deck. Really, really impressed. And I'm excited to see what's next for the next 3 cards. Cannot wait to hear from you guys in the comments section. If you want to chat with me further about this, I can be reached most easily, readily, and available, in my Facebook group, Abundant Life Tarot Group. That's the name of the group. And we can talk about it, chat about it, and go a little bit deeper with it. And people have been leaving great comments, educating me, educating each other on this deck. And it's been a fun learning experience. I hope you're enjoying it as well. And like I said in past videos, I'm open to doing these more deep dives with other decks in my collection in the future, because I think it's a learning opportunity. Just if you are learning Rider-Waite-Smith, that's my home school, if you will, you may find that you can, even if you don't have this deck, you may find that this is helpful information to discuss the meanings in this way. All right, guys, I want to thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to engaging in conversation with you. So much love and many blessings. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you all in the next video.